Most production drafting will require us to create formal plots. These plots will typically have a title block that contains our company logo, client information, scale information, drawing title, and other things. To create our formal plots, we're going to use what's known as a layout. In this lesson, we'll set up our layout and choose a paper size. On my screen, I have a mechanical example. Let's say I'd like to plot this drawing using our company title block. To do that, I'm going to set up a layout. If we look at the lower left corner, we can see that this drawing has two layouts. Each layout represents a sheet of paper that we can use to print our drawing. I'm going to select Layout 1, and notice that this looks like a sheet of paper. Also notice there's a rectangle on the paper, inside of which we can see our part. This rectangle is called a viewport, and we're going to talk about viewports a little bit later. So since I've selected this, I'm going to press my Delete key to erase it. Now, the paper that we see on screen is a representation of what our plot is going to look like when it comes out of the printer. Notice it has this dashed line around the outside. This line represents the printable margin. Anything that falls outside this line will not print. It's important to note that the shape of this paper and the shape of this boundary will change depending on the printer and the paper size that I select. Let's select a piece of paper for our plot. To do that, I'll right-click on the Layout tab name, and I'll select Page Setup Manager, and then I'll click Modify. Notice that the Page Setup Manager looks very similar to the Plot dialog box. That's because we're essentially setting up our plot ahead of time. You see, a layout is merely a visual representation of our plot settings. I'm going to choose a printer. I'll click the printer name Flyout, and I'm going to select DWG to PDF. You can select any printer that's connected to your machine. I'm going to go with the 8.5 by 11 inch paper size. And as far as plot area, I would like to plot my layout, so this setting is also good. Finally, let's take a look at scale. Notice this is set at 1:1. If you plot using a layout, your scale will always be 1:1 because our layout is a true size environment. Our paper is measured in inches, and we want the paper to print at a 1:1 scale. Since I'm finished with my settings, I'm going to click OK and then Close. Layouts are essentially a visual display of saved plot settings. The piece of paper that we see on screen is a real-life representation of our paper as it will come out of the printer. In our next lesson, we'll add a title block to this layout.